What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Project Boro podcast. Once again, I'm joined by Chris, who, like me, has decked himself out in a lovely Christmas jumper. I'd like to think I've won the Christmas jumper competition with it being a Boro Christmas jumper, but Chris's background just looks unbelievably light, beautifully lit, very Christmassy. So we'll call it a draw on that one. But we're here to talk about the month that was for Boro. Of course, looking back at December, which saw the interim spell of Eddie Vivash pass by, as we then went into the Kim Hellberg era, to which so far, you'd like to say it's been a pretty successful one. In the last block of games that we're looking at today, Boro played 7, won 4, drew 1, lost 2. Of course, it started off with the draw at Oxford. We then lost at home to Coventry before going on that wonderful 4-game winning run, beating Derby, Hull, Charlton and QPR, but we couldn't quite round it off with a 5th win in a row because, well, we went to Ashton Gate and we all know what happens when we go to Ashton Gate. So of these 7 games, Boro came out of it with 13 points, just under the 2 points a game mark, which reflects where we are in the league, actually, because we are still second. Every time we come back and record every month, we always have that little thought, are we still going to be up there next month? And then we are. Then we come back again and we're still there. And going into Christmas, we will be in the top 2, just again beneath the 2 points per game mark, 1.9 PPG, 42 points from 22 games. And Boro, well, they were smack bang in the middle of our predictions. As always, every month we put our necks on the line. We predict the next block of games. I went with 12 points because I'm clearly a negative ninny. Chris is obviously the most optimistic of the two of us. And, well, if you put us together, we were spot on because if you put an average for our points predictions, Boro picked up 13. We both went for wins at Oxford. That obviously wasn't the case. We went and drew. We both thought we'd get a point against Cov. Wasn't the case either. We both did predict the Derby game correctly with a win. Both thought we'd draw at Hull. We were immensely better than that. We'll get onto that. However, Chris did predict a win at Charlton. I said a draw. We both thought we'd win against QPR, which we did. And we both predicted a loss at Bristol City because, of course, we did. So, overall, I think we did pretty well with our predictions there. Overall, a good month for Boro, you'd have to say, with the transition, the unknown of going into the new tenure with a new manager. 13 points, some good wins in there, maintaining our position in the league table. I mean, talk to me about the last month that was, Chris. You've got to be satisfied with where Boro were and where we are now going into Christmas.
Yeah, delighted where we are. Obviously, it started with Oxford. We were still in the 85 Ash era then, with him as interim manager. We were both there, weren't we? It was cold, it was wet. We were absolutely drenched before we even got in the ground. Some fans came away from that one really annoyed, but as I said at the time, there was no shame in drawing there. They'd already drawn at home with Coventry, Leicester, Millwall. Then after we went there, they then beat Ipswich. So they're no mugs at home. That said, given how dominant we were, I got the frustration as to why we didn't go away from that one with 3 points. It's one of those where you look at the league table, you see where they are, and you think, yeah, we need to be beating them. And yeah, a point on the road, always circumstances mitigating. It's never really that bad a point, is it? Coventry, I thought it was a very even game that we should have taken at least a point from. The difference was in the final third, wasn't it? One side was wasteful, the other was clinical. I likened it on the night to a Championship side versus a Premier League side in an FA Cup tie. We survived the first 20 minutes, which threatened to get really, really messy. And then after that, I thought we matched them for long spells of that game. Or there were spells where we were better than them. But it was just that extra bit of quality there in the final third. If Tommy Conway puts that chance away, makes it 3-2, I think we're probably going to win the game, at leact draw, and the league table's looking even better. So just for that chance to go wide and then they got the other end and get 2 goals was an absolute sucker punch. So yeah, I was absolutely good to come away from that one. Derby, first game with the Hellberg. Again, torrential rain, seemingly the theme of the games this month. First half was as poor as I've seen us for some time. They should have been 2-0 up. I think it was Sanderson from the corner before half-time. Should have scored that. second half, if it was a mixture of John Eustace parking the bus, whatever Hellberg said or changed at half time, and of course the introduction of David Strellick and Ryan McGree, we were brilliant, absolutely fantastic second half. We were really, really good value for the win, and I thought that was a massive result given Kim Hellberg hadn't that much time with the players. So to win your first game in those circumstances, you take that every single time. Hull. Again, me and the daughter soaking wet before we even got in the stadium. As I'm sure you were as well. And obviously the game was then delayed 15 minutes, wasn't it, prior to kick-off for, pitch inspections or whatever it was. Or no, it wasn't. It was the...
It's traffic, wasn't it? The team
traffic, wasn't it? Traffic due to the weather. But there was rumours constantly going on the concourse, wasn't it, about pitch inspections and all that. Everyone was on tender hooks because the rain just did not let up at all. So, yeah, and then seeing your mate Alex Gilbert on the team sheet, the guy who ended your away day hoodoo and sparked your Undertaker-style run of 11 unbeaten away games in 2025. Yeah. To see him on the team sheet and then he become some sort of Iniesta regen, goal, assist, first half, and he was fantastic, absolutely brilliant. And that concourse at half time is just one I will remember for a long, long time. Just everyone just mouths open, just in shock at what we'd seen. It was just to be 4-0 up at half time in an away game against a team who are up at the right end of the table. Insane away day, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Well worth travelling in the awful conditions that night. Charlton away, I was there, minus the daughter, because apparently education's more important than football. Yeah, okay.
Never.
Not sure about that, but again, I thought we were really good first half. McGree, brilliant again. Whitaker, another goal. He's someone who I feared at one point he hadn't really taken his chance with a strike not being settled in the team and the way the previous manager wanted to play. It was only one striker, so you saw Strellick coming in, and he had Bergzorg and he had Hansen and all his players. And at one point, it looked like he hadn't really took his chance to make one of those number 10 spots his own. But under Hellberg, he's been a different player, and yeah, great to see him get the goal. I only wish I saw it myself because me and my mate thought 47 minutes was the ideal time to go down and get a £7.20 pint of Ferrari on the concourse. But
wow,
no, no, we missed the goal. So yeah, never mind. Always loved the London away days. They're just up there, fantastic. QPR, sensational. Best first half I've seen since Sheffield Wednesday at home last Boxing Day. Obviously, thankfully, minus the second half collapse. 14 shots in the first half, 2-0 up. And then the penalty after the break. The whole stadium is hoping Tommy Conway takes the penalty, probably including the QPR fans. They probably think his confidence is low. There's a chance he might miss this. Stuck it away fantastically. So pleased for him. The relief was, yeah, great. And yeah, so to win that as well as we did, again against a team who were in great form and pushing for the playoffs. Bristol City, I'm not going to get too annoyed about that one because it was exactly what we expected it to be, wasn't it? They won and Emil Rees scored. So on our, that's now 10 visits to Ashton Gate and 2 wins. Emil Rees with 8 goals and an assist in his last 9 games against us.
That's ridiculous. That is absolutely disgusting, isn't it?
He's just kryptonite to Boro. Absolute kryptonite. It's just one of those, is it? When you see Bristol City, Emil Rees, Ashton Gate, straight away, it's the equivalent of those teen slasher movies when the group have the ingenious idea to split off into different groups to investigate, because you know it's going to happen. It's inevitable. You know it's going to happen. And once again, it's Emil Rees wielding the knife, stuck it deep this time, and yeah, I just hope we only have to play him one more time because we'll hope. Fingers crossed, we'll be in a different division, but yeah. one of those things, wasn't it? They sat back and didn't press. They played very similar to how Sunderland played against us last season at the Stadium of Light. It was quite evident from kickoff. All talk pre-match was, well, we'll play better against Sunderland because they'll come out and play and they'll give us space to play. And George Edmondson gets his foot on the ball, 30 seconds in, looks up, and he's waiting for a press that doesn't come. And it's clear they're playing like the away team and they're going to make the middle of the pitch congested and they're going to make it difficult for us. And it was exactly the same here. Similar to that game, we still managed to create chances, didn't take them, annoyingly. They had less chances and were clinical. So, yeah, unfortunately, could away for that with nothing, but I suppose it's expected, isn't it, at Bristol City? I think that may be a template for how people might try and deal with Hellball going forward, trying to snuff it out. But I trust the manager has the flexibility and adaptability to sort of have, okay, teams are doing this, how can we solve this problem? So, yeah, overall, delighted with what we've seen over that group of games.
Yeah, I've just got an image now of Emil Rees in a scream mask, wielding a giant machete, chasing after Boro players.
He might as well have been.
He might as well have been. I mean, that's better for a Halloween-themed podcast, but what a cracking analogy. I mean, another belter.
Well, it's the next Halloween. I'm going as Emil Rees.
Yeah, just go as Emil Rees, and you'll terrify any Boro fan that comes near you. It's mental, isn't it, that he was already a really bad hoodoo player for us, and he played for a relative, hoodoo team in Preston, but I don't think Preston are as big of a hoodoo side as Bristol City. Of all the teams for him to join in the Championship, he joins Bristol City, a club we never beat, at a home ground where we never win at, and you've now got like the three pillars of, as you say, Boro kryptonite, and to which when they're put together, they're unbeatable. And I mean, I put a bet on, and the only thing that let me down was Boro didn't bloody score. So I still came away from it empty-handed, even though I'd pretty much predicted the predictable outcome.
We didn't speak before the game about that bet, but I put the same bet on. Yeah. I didn't realise until you put it on Twitter. Yeah, Emil Rees to score, Bristol City to win, both teams to score. And the only one that let us down was Boris not scoring. It was
unbelievable. Yeah, but you know what? Emil Rees aside, I'm not going to let that result dampen what has been a very good month for Boro. As we say, 13 points from 7. It's pretty much tracking at that just under 2 points a game. No matter what we do every month, we keep coming back. We keep looking at the results. Boro just keep finding ways to not get beat, to not lose too many games, which I think's really, really good. And obviously, we've had the transition from the interim manager to the new manager, and we've still maintained a good spell of results. I think one of the big concerns we had when we were chatting about this with Rob Lauren on the podcast we had previously was, is this change of manager, is this transition, is it going to stall our progress? Are we going to have to go through a few weeks of pain? Are we going to drop a little bit, take a few steps back before we can take a few steps forward? But Kim Hellberg and we'll get into more of what we think of him and his Boro side in a bit, but I think the fact he's picked up a second place team, which we said at the time, didn't we? What a great position it is for any manager to be in, to pick up a second place team and carry us forward. You're still worried, as I say, that we might go back before we could go forward, but we've just, if anything, gone up another gear. And I do think, had we still had the former manager, whose name will not be mentioned, although it is hilarious to see his brilliant triumphant work at Wolves at the moment, I don't think we'd be where we are at all. If we were still with the same manager, I think Hellberg has took us on another gear. And like you say, some of the results in there were good, but the results were good before. The performances, however, I think at times have been sensational. I mean, obviously, we do have to refer back to the very end of the 85 Ash era, to which obviously, Oxford, I think it is still a good point, as you mentioned, but given league position, you do look at it and, you do want to win that game, but it probably would have been put aside had we gotten something against Coventry, and you're absolutely right. I was fearing for the worst. I think we were 2-0 down after 20 minutes, was it even earlier? And I think to play against the league leaders, who at that time were untouchable, in the predicament we were in without a manager, I think the character we showed to get back into that game was incredible. And I think the scoreline is harsh on Boro. I think the 2 quick-fire goals they got at the end was a bit harsh, and made the game maybe look a little bit more one-sided than it was. Obviously, we got back into it brilliantly. If Conway sticks it away, as you say, different game. And to think they went 10 points clear after that, I didn't think we'd see them again. And we've pretty much got the gap down to what was 5 points, has crept up again to 6. But I think that's really, really good from us in the position we were in. I agree with you on Derby. Bit hairy first half, but the level of dominance that we had in the second half, yeah, it was paired with the very, very negative tactics from John Eustace. But that was the first sign of the level of control and territory and just sheer dominance that Boro were going to have under Hellberg. First time we came from behind to win a game as well this season, which I thought was a significant moment for the team. And then what we saw in the 3 games following that was sensational. I mean, words can't describe how great that first half was against Hull. Couldn't believe it in that away end, 4-0 up at half time. I mean, we bumped into each other at half time. We went to meet up, didn't we? And the first thing Sarah said, and I said I'd quote her on this, is this what Coventry fans feel like? And we had no idea this was only the start. And we were just like this, weren't we? Like, we couldn't believe
my
it.
voice had gone. My voice had gone.
Yeah. It was an insane half of football. And it started a running theme of Hellberg, Boro, and again, we'll get onto it in a bit, but unbelievably dominant first halves, blowing the opposition away, then sort of preserving and controlling it second half. We saw a similar first half against Charlton, where again, I thought we were fantastic, maybe should have scored more. Bit hairy at the end, but don't think we were ever in that much danger. And then unbelievably, the first half against QPR, I think, as you said, I agree, was one of the best halves of football I think I've seen from Boro in a very, very long time. We were unbelievably dominant. I mean, I looked at the momentum bar and I looked at the stats and I looked at everything, and I've never seen a half that one-sided by a side, both neutral, Boro opposition, in a long time. It was so, so good. It's just a shame that it didn't continue against Bristol City. But even then, we had chances in that first half where we could have seen the same thing again. And that was the only question I came out of QPR thinking. I thought, what if Boro don't get that early burst of goals under Kim Hellberg? What happens if we get to half time and we haven't scored? What happens if we get to 60 minutes and we haven't scored? Because that level of intensity will drop off eventually. And I think that's the one thing I would say about Kim Hellberg's Boro. I don't want to say we're a first half team, but I think we have to strike early, because if we do, I think we can blow a team away. And I still think we have a 100% record of winning games when we've scored first, which is a brilliant, weapon in your armory, I guess. So I think that's a very key thing. Score first, score early, win the game. Bristol City was a sign of, as you say, if Boro get to a point in a game where we're behind or we're not winning, is it in that final half an hour where the game comes back into the opposition's court and it gives them a chance to maybe take control of the game and maybe get something from it. But overall, yeah, to start a new era with a new manager who's never managed in the Championship before, and for him to recognise the strengths and weaknesses of the players we have and instantly throw them into a system he's never played before, by the way, 4-2-2-2, never played it before. He clearly has done his research, looked at the team, realised we don't have width, we don't really have good players with pace, 1v1 quality, so we've got to play narrow and we've got to try and pass the ball around sides and maybe use the full-backs. And for him to create a formation that has worked so well and suits the players so well and has been so effective this quickly, I think shows us that we've got an incredibly knowledgeable, talented coach on our hands who as you said, I do have confidence. Even if teams do start to suss us out, he will be always looking to the next, right, what can we do next to, he's not a Michael Carrick who's going to stick by his philosophy and that's it. He's going to keep trying to evolve, stay one step ahead of the opposition. And I do have faith we'll do that in the upcoming weeks, even if Bristol City have found a kink in our armour as such. But yeah, a great run of games, a brilliant improvement in performances. Results have stayed at a great level. But yeah, I guess we'll block off the end of the Vivash era. Talking of the Kim Hellberg era, I mean, what have been your big takeaways from Kim Hellberg's era so far, Chris? Both, I guess, there might be the odd con, which I guess we can talk about, but what have been the real pros you've taken away from his first few games in charge?
So the previous manager, who may or may not be auditioning for 007
Oh,
over
he
the Christmas
is.
period.
Oh, he is. I've got a graphic ready. Don't you worry. He is.
So he did leave us a solid foundation to build from at the back. However, we were toothless in the final third. So, as we discussed previously, the big thing for Hellberg for me was, can he come in and can he get this guy attacking? Can he get us scoring goals? Uh, Second half against Derby, first half against Hull, first half against QPR, we've seen it already. He absolutely can. 11 goals in his first 5 games, compared to 5 goals in 5 games of the previous manager's last games. So massive tick in the box. He's coming in such a short space of time with someone else's players, and he's got scoring goals. That's what we wanted to see. I don't really see many negatives at the minute, like you touched on there. Peter, I know Peter's saying, are we a 45-minute team? Do we play in bursts where we need to get the goals and in that spell? But it's difficult to judge, in my opinion, because you can't sustain that level of intensity against QPR for 80, 90 minutes. You just can't. The players will be absolutely gassed. Whole second half, yeah, we took a foot off the pedal, but it was a 3-game week. Why would you risk going hammer and tong to stick 5, 6, or 7 past Hull when you've got a game coming up on Tuesday night against away at Charlton? Tough game. Say against QPR, once you've 3-0 up, again, it's a 3-game week. You're just trying to manage things. You've got a busy Christmas period coming up, so minutes have to be managed. We've seen why players like McGree were taken off early. It still hasn't really helped, has it? He's still got injured. So, yeah, the manager has to try and manage the squad. The likes of Bangura, the likes of McGree, quite a few of them as well. They need protecting. And if the game state is with 3-4 goals up, I don't really see why we need to go and push for it. Yeah, it would be nice to go and rack up a scoreline equivalent to Man City on that final day. We won 8-1, but do we need to? I think when the normality of the fixtures come back round and it starts being more like one every week, and then the odd time you have a Tuesday night game, we might see something then. But at the moment, I think he's doing a good job trying to manage the players and manage the level of intensity, because at full throttle, it's a really demanding way to play hell ball. And I say, if you've got, is it something like 5 games in 12 days? I think it is something like that over Christmas, something daft like that. I think it's 4 games in 12 days. There's no way you can play at that level of intensity. So we're gonna see it again over Christmas. So yeah, no real negatives from me. It's all good.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would like to see improve, I think I saw a stat that said we've not got a clean sheet in 11. I would
Yeah,
probably like to see that improve, but you can't be too fussy when we had a manager previously where we were very happy defensively but not great going forward, and now we're very good going forward. We can't now moan about the defence because we're still up there as one of the best defences in the Championship. I think we still have the second best XG against record in the Championship, so it's not like we've suddenly started shipping a huge number of opportunities. And let's not forget, the goal against Derby, yeah, it was quick. It was instantly, we were caught out within the first minute, but the goal at Charlton was an own goal. The goal at
yeah,
Hull was a penalty that was not a
no,
penalty. The goal against QPR was a stupid penalty to give away, but I thought, considering their 2 centre forwards, Cornet and Burrell had been very, very good for them up to that point. We kept them immensely quiet for the most part. And I wouldn't say Bristol City peppered our goal either. They had a few opportunities that were on target but were poor. And that's why I put a lot of value in XG, because they had more shots on target than us, but they were all straight at Sol Bryn and they weren't of any real threat or quality. The one that slipped in was a really poor strike that Bryn will be disappointed in. The only goal I would say from a defensive point of view I was really disappointed in was the second goal from the corner. But yeah, even then, I think defensively our standards haven't dropped that much. It maybe is just that, question of, are we reliant on killing teams off quickly in that initial first half? Because Kim Hellberg did say, and I can't recall if it was before the Bristol City game or after it, he said something along the lines of, when a team scores first, they win 75% of the time. Now, I don't know if he's just plucked a number out of thin air, and that is, wide of the mark. But I think the point he was trying to make is, if you score first, you're going to win
The odds
eight,
are in your favour.
8 or 9 times out of 10. And Boro have proven this season that we win 100% of the time if we go ahead first. So I think maybe Hellbergs looked at it and thought, okay, this team have managed games very well when going ahead this season. So we can afford to really, really go for it in that first half. Get 1 goal up, get 2 goals up, get 3 goals up, 4 goals up, and the game's won. And then, as you say, you can then preserve second half, don't overly exert yourself. And I think that's a very sensible approach. And it is just maybe a case of Boro just getting their noses in front early. But I guess we've also seen against Derby, this team has now shown the ability to come from behind at the same time to win a game. And I think that's definitely something we can use going forward if we do go behind, hopefully. Because even when we went behind against Bristol City, I thought we were still the better side. Heads didn't drop. I thought we were still really, really good. So yeah, it's mostly positive signs, and the Hellberg boom, as it were, has certainly caught fire. A lot of people talking about us, and we have become a bit of a credible threat, I guess, to the automatic promotion race. I know me and you have discussed our hopes, expectations up until this point on numerous podcasts, and I guess the further we get into the season, the more important these discussions become. But we are almost at the halfway stage, and we are still second. We're 5 points clear of Ipswich. We were 8 clear before the weekend's games. We cut the gap from Coventry from 10 down to 6 when I thought they were as good as gone. Where are your expectations now, and should they shift? Because I think we've both been open about, playoffs is a must. Automatics would be this dream bonus that we've always had one eye on but thought it's not going to happen. But we are nearly halfway now, and we will be second come Christmas, come the 29th, at the halfway stage. So do we now start taking top 2 seriously? Do we have to? Or are you still very much easy? Playoffs, top 6, let's just hold our horses. But where do you stand on that?
Have my expectations changed? For me, no. I said 8th before ball was kicked. I did revise that to 4th because our transfer window was sort of heavy loaded at the back of the window, wasn't it, with investment? Which in 4th, a lot of people at the time thought 4th was optimistic. So I'm happy with that. This brilliant start we've had to the season for me was always about banking points. Yeah. Bank them early, build that margin forever. Similar to Sunderland last season, so we're not scrambling for playoffs later on. So whatever happens, we've got playoffs secure. I would absolutely love second. That would be an unbelievable season for us. But I do worry that if you start shifting your expectations to, I expect us to come second, then if we drop into the playoffs, by definition, you're saying the season's been a failure. If you expect to get top 2 and you don't get it, then by definition it's a failure. And I don't know. I'm just a bit wary falling into that trap.
I don't know if within you. I can
yeah.
Hear it
well, the Boro fan in me is always a bit pessimistic, but it's that kind of human psychology thing of, if you say, for argument's sake, you're earning £30,000 a year, and suddenly you're earning £40,000 a year, you're not happy, are you? You want the next meal. Okay, I want 45, I want 50. You're never satisfied with what you've got. If you put up a podcast or a TikTok video and you think, my expectations are 2K, and suddenly you get double, you get 4K. There's a party that's annoyed, thinking, I'm a bit annoyed this wasn't 5K. And that's the human psychology. We don't benchmark happiness against where we started, but against what we think is possible next. We shift the goalposts because expectations are emotional. They're not logical. At the start of the season, we'd have all said playoffs, brilliant. and that's my only caution. And I'm not saying for a moment that we can't get top two, or we should be trying to get top two, but my expectations still aren't top two. And as I've said, I think on every one of these that we've done, I'm still worried about Ipswich. They remain the threat for me, and I can feel them now breathing down our necks. They are right behind us now. Is it 5 points the gap now? It's tough, isn't it? This time of year, to have a squad like they've got is going to be a big advantage for them. The likes of Jack Clark and Chuba Akpom, players like that, who Jacob Greaves, all on the bench. They're all players who'd start for most championship clubs. So, Portman Road is a real fortress for them. If they could sort their away form out, which keeps their away form is mediocre. They've got tough games coming up. I think they're away to Millwall. Are they away to Coventry?
You've got Coventry away on the 29th, which what a day that could be for us.
Yeah. And I'm sure they've got another Sheffield United. I think they've got in January as well. So they have some tough away games coming up. So we need to hope that their away form stays as it is. But then they're going to invest in January as well. So I'm a bit concerned that their squad depth will be too much over the 46 game season. But hey, it's one of those where just keep doing what we're doing. That's all we can keep doing. And let's see where we are. If we finish in the playoffs, there'll be part of me that'll be disappointed that we didn't finish in the top two. But I'm certainly going to chalk it down as a massive success if we do finish in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean that was the goal, wasn't it? And it would be. I think we've put ourselves in a brilliant position to finish in the playoffs. I mean, we're 8 points clear of seventh, I think it is, and there's not many sides beneath us, barring Ipswich and Southampton, who I am remotely worried about. They're the only two. So I'm looking at and thinking, I think we've got a very good chance of being in the top four, bare minimum. I would be disappointed if a Hull or a Millwall or a Preston overhauled us from here and finished above us. I would be. Would I be disappointed if Southampton finished above us? Maybe a little bit because of the start, but I wouldn't be surprised. Ipswich, I wouldn't be surprised at all because the squad they've got and the riches they've got, as you say, it's very difficult to compete. So I think we've put ourselves in a very good position for playoffs, and that is the main goal. And if you're in that top four, you've got an advantage in the playoff semi-finals. Not that it mattered a hoot to us when we played Coventry in the 22-23 playoff semi-final, but anyway, we'll move on from that. But there is also a part of me, and I feel like I keep shifting the threshold. So at 10 games, I was like, oh, we're in top two. Great. What a great chance we've got. But I'll wait until we're at 20 games. And then we're at 20 games. I'm like, we're still there. Brilliant. And now I'm like, no, we need to wait and see where we're at in February. And I feel like I'm going to keep shifting the threshold until it's Easter. Let's see where we're at Easter. And I think that just tells you that we are in the mix because we are starting to think like that. We are starting to look ahead. They've got these and they've got these. And it is a great position to be in. But I agree. I think there's a few key things before I get excited. There is a lot of games coming up in a very, very short period of time. So that 5 point gap to Ipswich could be eaten up in a week. It could also be doubled and extended in a week. We might overtake Coventry in a week if things go our way. So anything can happen at this stage. And I think things can change really quickly. And then, of course, we've got the January transfer window, which we'll get onto, where we will need to invest, but they will have the resources to invest. So, if we're still there at the end of January, you then can really take a look at, right, we've kept Hayden Hackney. We've brought in a forward who gives us this. We've brought in a midfielder who gives us this and this. That's when I think you can really start to map your way through the second half of the season. I think that there's still one too many variables that are just a little bit like this for me. But what a position we put ourselves in. And if, as you say, we keep coming back every month doing these review pods, and every time we're near enough at 2 points a game. And if we're back here in February and in March, like we were in September and in October and in November, and we're still here, we will get there. We will get there if we remain at this trajectory. So it's exciting, but yeah, the Boro fan within me is always going to be that little bit cautious. But I will plug a stat that I came up with a couple of weeks ago, and I was very, very proud of this. I think I sent you it, and I was buzzing my little tits off when I saw this. But at the 20 game mark, I think it was, I looked back at the last 10 seasons as to where every side who had, I think, at least 39 points at that point and where they all finished. And in the last 10 years, there were 18 teams who'd had as many points as Boro or more in the last 10 seasons, and all 18 of them finished in the top six. So that's a great omen. 14 of them 18 got promoted in the top two. Only 4 dropped into the playoffs. That was a very surprising stat that made me go, "Ooh, okay." So you'd have to say playoffs from here. I mean, if we bottle
Oh
playoffs
yeah,
from here, it would be an immense disappointment, wouldn't it?
it's a disaster if that happens.
Yeah,
Disaster.
exactly. So yeah, at the minute, 1.9 points per game. Let's get through January. Let's see where we're at. And well, we're going to be back at the end of January to discuss. That'll be an interesting. There's so many games, isn't there, to come between now and then. Talking of January, obviously the window is coming up. Always a very nervy time. You don't know who you're going to lose. You don't know who you might bring in. What are your thoughts heading into January when it comes to Boro's squad at the minute? What do you think we need? What do you think we need to do in terms of incomings, outgoings? What would Boro look like in an ideal world coming out of January for you?
Well, as far as outgoings are concerned, we simply cannot do what we've done the last 2 seasons and sell one of our best players. That's for certain. We've sold, obviously, we sold Morgan Rogers for what looks like a packet of crisps now, doesn't it? We look at the performances he's doing now.
Yeah.
Oh, God knows how much he's going to go for Villa. He just seems to be putting.
We'll probably earn another 15 million just from the sell-on at this rate.
And that's the annoying thing. We will get a decent fee in the end, but we just need to wait for someone to get him out of Villa Park, don't we? So,
it might happen in January the way he's going, honestly. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then obviously that, and then obviously with the absolute disaster of last season of not addressing any of the defensive problems, bringing in Kelechi Iheanacho. We won't go back there. It was a total disaster, basically.
That's
so we
long
can't have
in the
that.
past now. Long in the past.
Don't look back in anger. Let's dwell on that one there. So yeah, we can't have that happen again. Basically, we cannot allow any of our key players to leave this football club. If they want to leave, they'll leave in the summer. We cannot let them go now. I don't care how much is being dangled in front of us. It'll be nothing compared to the riches of, us reaching up and getting that money in the bank briefcase of the Premier League TV money. It will be what's 20, 30 million for Hackney when they're getting 150, 200 plus million over X amount of years.
Yeah.
It's nothing, is it? It dwells insignificant, so we just cannot allow that to happen. So, other than that, I think the squad, it just needs a bit of fine tuning. I think it's not a rebuild. I know last January we were a bit surprised, weren't we? We thought it'd be a bit of fine tuning, but it was kind of felt like a little bit of a rebuild, didn't it? And I don't think it needs that. The one thing that does need to be noted though is the squad is full in terms of registered players. We do need to make some room. We see the likes of Delano Bergzorg, Silvera, Hamilton. Could they move on?
Dieng.
Senny Dieng. Who knows? Naipan. He's one of those where I think we'll look back in a couple of seasons and think he played for us. He really played for us. You know what I mean? As he's smashing it somewhere else, but I don't know why. Maybe it's just that he hasn't had regular game time. He hasn't had a chance to find his rhythm, or get a chance to adjust to the physicality of the league. But it just hasn't worked out for him here. And I think it's one of those where I think Man City as well will be quite disappointed with how many minutes he's got here. So I will be a bit surprised if he's still here at the end of January if he doesn't take this opportunity with McGree being out with both hands. That's if he gets the nod. Hansen might get the nod, something like that. Lenihan, it's a tough one, Lenihan. I don't really like talking about it because it's. I feel awful for him as a human being, as an
Yeah,
individual.
me too.
I was there at Gateshead last pre-season when he played. I was there this season at Preston for what I hope was his comeback, and each time I haven't seen him again since after it for the rest of the season. If he's no closer to being back, if there's no return date, would they register him to hopefully play him to register Malanda? Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we see him again soon. But yeah, that's one of those where Boro just got to make a decision, aren't they? Because if he's not going to be back in the next couple of months, then yeah, we need to register Malanda, don't we? We've gone from playing one striker under the previous manager, now playing two under Hellberg. So we had three strikers. So for me, that means now we need four. We need four strikers. We need cover. Um, there's, there's several times Bristol City was one of those as well where I look to the bench when we need a goal and I don't see many goals on that bench. Oxford, Coventry, Bristol City, those narrow games show that if you just have someone who can stick the ball in the net a bit more regularly than the ones we've got to do, then yeah. When I looked at it, you look at Ellis Sims, he's the backup at Coventry for Hadji Wright. He would walk in our team. He would walk in our team. He was immense against us. And look, here's a stat here. He's got 7 championship goals in 635 minutes. Strellick and Conway combined have 1 goal less than him in 2,417 minutes.
Deary me, that's an eye-opener. Wow.
And he's their backup striker.
He's back on the bench now. He's like, back on the bench here.
Yeah.
Wright's back in now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And Thomas Asante's not even playing. He's injured.
So that's their backup striker. And like I said, against us, he was absolutely immense. He looked like he had,
that finish
strength,
for the first goal was a
speed,
joke.
great finish for the goal, great in the air. Yeah. So that's the kind of level you're kind of looking at. And I know they are mitigating factors to Strellick and Conway. The last coach had no real idea in the final third other than slinging crosses in. Strellick's adapting to a new league. So there is reasons why they haven't succeeded. But even so, if we want to overshoot our expectations of playoffs and get in those top 2 places, that is where I'm looking and thinking we need to invest. We need to get another striker, not just to sit on the bench and provide cover. We need someone who we can put in the lineup and start. Gibson's done it in the past, hasn't he? With Jordan Rhodes, if it wasn't for signing him, we wouldn't have got promoted. Marco Branca, Alan Armstrong, Fuchs, those types of signings. Sunderland showed last season you don't have to pay huge transfer fees. I'm not saying he would. He was a cheap loan deal, but Enzo Lafay came in and just gave him that spark, didn't he, to get them over the line.
Reminded me of when we got Gaston Ramirez. It was a similar sort of loan signing.
Yeah, and that's the kind of. I know almost every club in Europe now is looks around and thinks we could do a few more goals, we could do another striker. So I know it's easier said than done, but definitely in that final third, we do need someone. So Malanda coming in, hopefully a striker, maybe a little bit more depth, especially with the intensity Hellberg plays at. I think when you start looking at, do we need another keeper to compete with Bryn? I think you're into nice to haves then. I think we just need to focus on what we need. It's definitely the final third for me.
Yeah, I think the one big thing I would take into January is the position we're in. I think's very, very beneficial. I think you mentioned Sunderland last season. I think clubs will look at Boro, the position we're in, the football we're playing, and they'll think, wow, if I go in and get this right, I'll be a Premier League player in 6 months' time. So that's a big selling point in itself. I also think we look at a couple of players who we were maybe worried about losing, like Hayden Hackney. If we were 8th, 9th, 10th, I'd be very worried that he'd be off. I think another big bid, Premier League club, he'd be off. However, second in the Championship, a chance to near enough captain his hometown club to the Premier League and fulfil his dream at Middlesbrough. I have no doubt that is his absolute ideal situation. I think we'll play a giant role in keeping Hayden Hackney here for the rest of the season. This will be the final 6 months he's a Boro player. He will not be here post
No.
May. So we need to hope that we can get over the line and keep him here, because I think, yeah, it'll be perfect for both parties if we do get over the line. And then, yeah, looking through the squad, I mean, in terms of players who we could free up, you make a good point about the registration being full. I think Senny Dieng is someone we could probably move on without any worries, issues. I would have concerns about our centre backs' depth and injury record, which we've discussed many times. But I think Malanda coming in is almost perfect to sort of bridge that gap. You could see a Silvera leave. I mean, I do think he's not played as big of a part under Hellberg. I think Hellberg very much likes a right-footed right back who can get up and down on one side, a left-footed left back on the other side who gets up and down. The fact he put Bangura in as soon as he did and has kept him in for the most part. I know he's rotated with Target, but again, another left-footed left fullback. I don't think he likes the idea of having a left-sided fullback who's going to want to cut inside, invert on his right foot.
No.
Don't think he fits Hellberg at all. We don't play with wingers. I think Silvera could absolutely leave. As I say, Lenihan it's an awful one, because I think if fit, he's one of the best centre halves in the league. I still believe that, but if the prognosis is he's not going to be fit till April, May, and you need space, and I think he's out of contract, am I right in saying, in the summer?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to make the tough decision, as awful as it is, and I think he could be deregistered if we need space, and it's awful to say that. Midfield, I think Gilbert would have been a shoe-in to leave, but I think he's played his way back in unbelievably, and that's just an amazing story in itself. But you've got Hackney, you've got Gilbert, you've got Brown, you've got Morris. I think we're fine there. Kante maybe might go out on loan, free up a bit of space, possibly, just to give him the playing time that I don't think he's going to get. And then you're up front. I'd lose absolutely no sleep if Delano Bergsorg left. Hamilton, I don't see the benefit of him staying on the bench and doing nothing. I think you can give him a loan to see how he does. You've got Conway, you've got Whitty, you've got Strelitz. Hansen, I think, has definitely got a part to play, as a Sen. So, yeah, the only question marks I would have, I agree with you. I think up front, I would like a more physical centre forward who gives us something a bit different. I agree on having an extra striker. Now we're playing with two up top, because you want two players in every position. And if Strelitz goes down injured, or Conway, then I would be like you. I'd be thinking, where the bloody hell are the goals coming from? Because as great as Sen's been as an impact player, I don't think you can put that pressure on him to carry a team to the Premier League at this stage. And I think with Conway, and I know there's been an endless debate of Tommy Conway because he went so many games without a goal, I'd still have him in the team 100% because of what he gives us as a team. But he's not the player you can hang your hat on saying, right, he's going to carry us 20 goals and take us to the Premier League. I think you need that from the other striker who he's working with. Conway can do the hard work. The other guy can score the goals. So I think you're looking at competition for Strelitz, just to put pressure on him, just to compete with him. And I'd like a more physical centre forward, in my opinion, because that's probably one thing we're missing. The other big topic is Sverre Nipan. Now, I think the next few weeks will determine his loan deal. I'm not saying he's not a great player. I think he's a fantastically talented player. I stand by. I still think the ability he's got is amazing. And yeah, he could be one of the players we'll look at in a few years' time and think, wow, he was at Middlesbrough and we didn't see the best of him. But I think I'm in the same boat as you. I think McGree's injury, as awful as it is, and I think it is massively, it's a massive hindrance to the team and where we're at right now. The only person who's probably going to benefit is Sverre Nipan, because he has now got a chance to probably save his Boro loan deal. Because, I mean, if he doesn't deliver in the next few weeks, what do we do? Do you put Hansen in? Do you rely on him? You can't rely on Bergsorg. So what would you do if Nipan got his chance and failed to take it? Would you maybe then look at depth for McGree? Because Hansen's a different player to McGree, and Bergsorg's just not good enough. So if Nipan fails in his audition, I guess, over the next few weeks, would you also say that a McGree-esque deputy to cover McGree when he's not fit would be someone you'd bring in, maybe?
Absolutely, because as much as I absolutely love Ryan McGree, for me, he's the best footballer at the club. It's unfortunate we just can't rely on him to stay fit. Even when his minutes being managed now,
I
he's
really
broke
thought we'd.
down.
I really thought we'd clocked it as well. I thought
Yeah,
we'd
yeah, yeah,
solved it.
yeah. So if Deepan can't pass the audition over these past few weeks, I do think it's going to come down to they're probably going to have to say, look, we'll send you back to City. They'll send you another Championship club, and then we're looking. We've freed up a spot there to find someone who can attempt at least to fill a Ryan McGree shaped hole in the team, which isn't easy because he's a really, really good footballer.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting few weeks, isn't it? So there are definitely areas to tinker and improve. Very interesting to see where we'll be. I do think Gibson will invest. I do think he will
Yeah.
seize the opportunity, and I have faith in Kieran Scott to get the players in that we need. So, yeah, we will return at the end of January to discuss whatever happens both on and off the pitch, and we'll hopefully look to get Craig Johns maybe back on to discuss what happens throughout January if and when we get to the end of it, and however much business is said and done by then. But there is a huge number of fixtures coming up. I actually was surprised when I looked at the next block of games and there was more games in it than what we've just had in December. Obviously, we're recording this a little bit early because of Christmas, but 8 games, Chris, that we are going to be predicting and putting our head on the block. We're not including Fulham, of course, being the cup game, and maybe stuff might get moved around if we get through. I don't know when the 4th round will be.
I think it's I think it's the Coventry game that will get shelved if either team progresses in the FA Cup.
Right, so that's February, so we should be good with the games we've got. Yeah. So we have got 8 games, and I think the key thing here to point out is 3 of our next 4 are at home, to which we've been very, very strong in the season so far. So as always, I don't know Chris's prediction. He doesn't know mine. And we're going to put our necks on the block and predict Blackburn at home, Hull at home, Derby away, Southampton at home, West Brom away, Stoke away, Preston at home, and Norwich at home, which will take us to January the 31st. We then have because the Sheffield United game's on the Monday, pretty much a 10-day gap where we can come back and pod again. It'll be just before I go away as well, so that'll be the ideal time for us to come back. So I'm going to get the graphic up ready. Hope we don't snap. It'd be so embarrassing if we do. So, Chris, neck on the block. What have you got us getting from the next 8 Championship games?
I hate this part because there's no middle ground. You either come out with this looking like a genius or an idiot. So, but anyway, okay, we'll go then. So, Blackburn at home, Boxing Day. Blackburn at the Riverside is as bad a fixture for us as Bristol City at Ashton Gate.
It is.
In our last 20 home games with Blackburn, we've won 3. All by the score of 1-0. Ugo Ekiok, Frank Kadru, and Lucas Jukovic, the 3 goal scorers. But there is some salvation that the last occasion we beat them was indeed on Boxing Day. And that was the Jukovic one, wasn't it? So
2012, 13 goddamn years ago.
Yeah, it's funny how I can remember the Ugo Ekiok one. I'm sure it was a cup quarter-final game, and I can remember the Frank Kadru one, but the one that happened last time, I can't remember.
Me neither.
I can remember the 2 previous ones. Was that the one that happened last time? Anyway. So, tough game.
They're not bad away from home. They're not bad away from home this season.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 Boro, to make it 4-1-0s. It's the only score we seem to get against them. Hull, I don't think this will be... it surely isn't going to be as easy as last time because, they were tactically clueless when we beat them 4-1. But surely they've learned something going into this one. But I'm still going to tip us to win.
Okay.
Derby will both be there.
which
Tough
means
game. I
one
think.
thing, right?
Yeah.
We're not
I think
gonna
it's.
get deep.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go draw that one. I'm gonna go
Oh,
draw.
okay.
Southampton. Now, this is the one I've got. I can't shake the bad feeling about.
Mm.
This is going to be an interesting one. Our mate Finazaz returns. This will be a tough game. This will be the fourth game in 10 days. This is where the legs get tested, the squad depth gets tested. I can't shake a bad feeling about this one. I'm going to go away a win.
Oh no! Right. Okay.
I hope not. I hope not. West Brom away. They're an odd team. They look rubbish, but they've only lost one at home all season.
Oh, have they? I didn't know that.
Yeah, draw. I'm going to go for that one.
Oh God,
Stoke.
we're winless in 3. Oh my God.
Oh no, yeah. Stoke, it's the Emil Reese of managers against us. Mark Robbins.
Yeah, Mill Reese managers. You're
It's
not wrong.
yeah. I want to go draw there as well. But Preston, they've got the fourth best away record in the league at the minute. They know how to make things very difficult under Heckingbottom. So I do
They
think we
never
find a
get
way
out at
to.
the Riverside, though. They never get anything at the Riverside, do they?
I'm sure they did last season, and afterwards they got a draw, didn't they? And afterwards,
Did they?
Heckingbottom said, "Oh, I knew exactly how Boro were going to play, so it was
Oh
easy."
Christ!
Basically, what he said. So yeah, I want to take tips to win that one. Back to winning ways. Norwich, they've got better under Clement, but I still fancy us to beat them. Home win. So I've got there I believe I've got from the 15. Sorry, from the 8 games, I believe I've got us on 15 points, which would be just under 1.9 points a game.
It's tracking, to be fair. Similarly to what we are doing now.
If we come out of that run with a top 2, with the cushion that we've still got, I'll be absolutely over the moon. And if we've still got Hayden Hackley at the football club and we've improved, then I might start edging slightly towards this automatic promotion talk. But for now, I'm keeping my feet on the ground.
Well, 15 points. Yeah, fair enough. I've our predictions are different. This time you'll be glad to know, in quite a few ways actually.
Okay.
So starting off Blackburn, I actually, and I said this in the preview, I would have dropped yesterday. I went 3-1 Boro. I just think Boxing Day, sell out. Here we go.
Our record is good on Boxing Day at home games, I think. I can't remember the last time we lost at home on Boxing Day.
Yeah, well, we had that immense first half against Sheff Wed that then we absolutely collapsed. I think the home game before that was Nottingham Forest, and they were flying, and they came up
2-0,
here,
didn't we?
and we played amazing. Yeah, we were really good, and we beat them convincingly.
I even remember going as far back as Man United come up here with Ferguson as manager, and they had, I think it was Barthez and Laurent Blanc, and we beat them 3-1. we're just immense on Boxing Day at home. I don't know what it is.
That's why I'm going for a win, and quite a comfortable one. I've also got us to beat Hull. I agree with you though. I don't think it'd be anywhere near as easy. And I think the one excuse you can give Hull, even though their manager didn't even make an attempt to change it mid-game, he'll have learned from that. And obviously, when you play a team within quick succession, it probably helps. So they won't be as. I don't think it'll be as tough from a Hull point of view as what it was at their place. But I still think we'll beat them because I think it'll be an open game, which is just the way with Hull. And I think at the Riverside, we'll create enough. And I think we'll beat them. Unlike you, though, I have got us to win at Derby.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
Because, hey, when we're away from home on a new year, we know what happened last year at Hull. It's going to happen again. And we'll probably be stood together in the away end as well, hopefully, to literally relive Hull on New Year's Day. And we're going to see it again at Derby. So I've got 9 points from 9. I, like you, though, don't think we'll beat Southampton. But I've gone for a draw.
Yeah.
We're not getting beat much at the Riverside, and I think we compete very well with everyone. I don't know what Southampton's away record's like, and I don't know what they're like at the Riverside. don't think they're great up
It's
here.
hard to read. Yeah, I had to look at the away form earlier, but it's hard to read too much into it because obviously Will Still was manager for most of the season. I'm thinking, and obviously under the new guard, they went to Charlton, didn't they, and absolutely cleaned the
Yeah,
floor with them, didn't they?
yeah. But then they went to Norwich and lost. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
I've gone for a draw. Could be anything that game, and maybe it's nailed
yeah,
on for
yeah. I agree
Schmizzas
with
to
that.
score. I've gone for a win at West Brom. Granted, that was before you mentioned their home record, which has worried me a little bit. But I'm not sold on Ryan Mason and what they're like going forward. So I think we can outscore them and win there. However, my
Nah, I
one
had a feeling this was coming.
my one defeat, because I just can't have a run of games like this and not have a defeat in there somewhere. I have gone for a defeat at Stoke, and it's for the same reason that you mentioned. Stoke are dropping off. They are not the threat they were a month ago. They might not even be anywhere near the playoffs by the time we play them. But I have just got an awful feeling. Bet365, Mark Robbins, Sorba Thomas probably scored, chucks a corner straight past Solbrin. I just have a horrible feeling we'll lose at Stoke. It'll be the Bristol City of the run we've just had, basically. So I've gone for a loss against Stoke. But I've gone for us to beat Preston. I have went with a draw at home to Norwich.
Ooh.
I feel like they're improving. They're getting better. I think they'll be clear of danger by then, and they might be an awkward side. And again, it's another one I'm a bit like, oh, yeah, that's, I don't know, a sticky one that I'm not
Hmm.
100% sold on. So I think I've got 3, 6, 9, 10, 13, 16, 17 points from 8. It's over 2 points a game, that.
So you're the rah rah this week and this month, and I'm the negative ninny.
Yeah, it was the other way around. Last month
Yeah,
we were 2 points apart, and the Boro was right back down the middle. So maybe they'll do it again, and we'll get 16 points from the
yeah. I'll
next
take
8.
that. Take that.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting. That is our predictions. Hopefully, we're not a million miles off, and Boro don't come out of it with like 4 points or something, because that would be an utter disaster. But as I say, we will be back at the end of January to review it'd be the start of February, I think, by the time we get round to podding after the Norwich game, which is on the 31st of January. So we'll be back at the very beginning of February to do it all over again, to review the last 8 games, to see where Boro are at by then. And we'll also try and put together another podcast as well, where we can look back at the January transfer window and maybe get Craig back on as well, because that did really well last time too. But Chris, anything else to say before we go ahead of this beautiful festive period that we've got coming up, of course?
Now, just a big thank you to everyone who's interacted with us throughout the year, whether it's in the comments, on Twitter, on TikTok, and especially those who've come up to us and introduced themselves at the games. We've met many of you in the pubs, in the stack, in the fan zone, in the 12-man bar, on the concourse at away games. It's always nice to put some faces to the usernames and the accounts and all that, and of the ones we see online on such a regular basis. So just thank you to everyone who's interacted with us, who's took the time to come over, introduce themselves. It's always great, isn't it? It's always nice. Everyone's well, not touched wood yet. Everyone's been friendly, haven't they, so far? No one's come and pulled any of us for any bad takes just yet. But just have a great Christmas. Thank you very much for everything, and up the Boro.
Up the Borough. Yeah, have a great Christmas, everybody. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing, however it is you're celebrating over the festive period. We look forward to a sellout Boxing Day game. That's what I'm looking forward to more than Christmas, to be honest. I can't wait to get into Stack on Boxing Day. Get there nice and early. Should be a great day. And hopefully Borough back it up with a good result. But I second that. I echo that. Big thank you for all the support. The podcast has grown immensely this year. The views have been fantastic. The subscriber count has grown. Listenership numbers have been so good as well. So yeah, we'll keep doing this every month. And do obviously subscribe to the channel. There's plenty of other regular content that drops on the channel, previews for every game, mini match reviews for every game. And I'm also working on a new StreamYard background. So when I edit this, there might also be little social media things underneath our cameras, which would be nice, where you can go and follow Chris on TikTok. He is Mr. TikTok now with his fantastic dad and daughter match day vlogs that he does. I just chat crap on TikTok, to be honest. That's all I do. So you can come see that if you want. Both of our Twitter X accounts are below as well. And I'm even going to stick a QR code somewhere around here, possibly, where you can scan and we'll find everything if you'd rather do that. So yeah, thanks for your support. Like, subscribe. Leave us a comment in the section below with your thoughts and your predictions ahead of the next 8 games. Have a great Christmas, and we'll see you all, well, in the new year. Up the Boro.
Up the Boro.